This is May 12th, 2014, and welcome to Catfish Weekly, along with Lyle Stokes, Chris Wallace, aka Fudd, Paul Ragsdale, and myself, Chuck Davidson. Tonight we got Jonathon Herndon, the host of Maximum Catfishing. I'm gonna pass it off to Lyle, and he gets started off asking Jonathon some stuff, and I hope y'all all participate, get on chat, and ask him some questions. I know y'all got plenty for him.
Good evening, Jonathan. Glad to have you on the show.
Thanks. How are y'all, fellas?
You understand the water level's been pretty low down there where you guys are at.
Yeah, the water level looks pretty good, but the flow, man, is just non-existent. We measure our stuff in CFS through the TVA, and we're only getting about 7,000 CFS, and it's just crazy still right now. So it's hard to do any drifting or anything, covering any ground, and if the wind's not acting right, which it hasn't been, it'll blow you off anchor quick.
Now, are you primarily fishing a lake, or are you on the river systems down there?
I flop back and forth. Just depends on, I'm probably about 6 miles from the dam, and by water I'm even closer than that. So I try the lake out. If it's not hitting on anything, I'll either lock through and go down and fish the river section.
So you're fishing current most of the time?
Yeah, most of the time. Here lately I've been trying to, fish some pre-spawn areas, some spawning areas, heavy cover, stuff like that, and it's kind of the wrong thing to do, and it's against my better judgment most of the time to put out a double anchor in the main river channel like this. But with little to no current, it's okay, and I'm just locking down the boat from the front and the back and seeing if I can fish some of these spawning areas.
I see. When you get to the point where there's very little current, are you actually dragging bait, or you still have enough current where you can drift backwards?
Nah, you don't even have enough to drift backwards. You just have to put the nose down river, put a couple out the back, and just some light pencil weights, slinky weights, and just drag those baits.
Yeah, I wondered about that. We had situations like every time I go to the Ohio River, it's like that. But I understand the boys at the Sea Art tournament are going to have some current this weekend, so that'll be excellent for them.
Yep.
Are you still using skipjack and shad for your main baits down there?
Let me tell you something. I kind of figured this out over the winter. You guys saw the big fish we were throwing down over the winter after Christmas until early spring, and before the skipjack started running, everybody was at the very tail end of their skipjack supply, and it was getting kind of rough. What I found is these gizzard shad, these big gizzard shad, before they pushed down deep, were really bloody, and they were fishing, frozen skipjack 50-50. I mean, I couldn't tell the difference on the bite. But then when the skipjack came back in, you started seeing that gizzard shad bite fall off a little bit, and now the skipjack is kind of more prolific bite right now. But through the winter, it was the thing to be. It was the place to be, is to have a big piece of gizzard shad on the end of your hook.
Cool. That's awesome. Circle hooks, I assume?
Yeah, 8, 10 ounce circle hooks. With a good offset. I'm an offset guy. Some guys don't like offsets. I'm an offset guy.
Yeah, Jason Bethina was up the other day, and him and I was talking about that, and we was actually comparing some of the tackle that I have versus what he has, and we actually took some hooks out that I was showing him that I use and bending them to get the amount of offset that I like on them, and it's really close to the same thing he was looking for, and by the time we got done, we had a product that we both could feel good about.
Yeah, and when Chris was down here, he can attest to this. I was trying out some new circle hooks, and they're real heavy gauge. They actually were saltwater hooks, and they worked to an extent. But we found a couple of. We had one that freight trained Chris on his side of the boat, and I don't know how that fish didn't hook up. So I think the gauge on it was a little too heavy. So I went back to my standard 4 times strong Gamakatsu 8 and 10s.
I see. The boat you have now, I seen it at the Monsters last year. That's still the same boat you're fishing out of?
Yeah, the ProCat 240, the 2014 model. CR came on as the main sponsor of the show last year, and that's what we'll be using throughout the first season of Maximum Catfishing.
Oh, that was absolutely beautiful boat down there. It was on display for all of us to look at, and I just drooled all over it. So if there are any marks on it, they'd be me.
Yeah, The the black, I think, is where it's at. So if we get a new one, that's where I want to go, is black. I've seen Ryan Casey's, and I saw I think it was Jody's boat down there at the Monsters, and it was all black, and I kind of like that. I know it might be a little hot in the summer, but it looks good.
Yeah, it did. It was beautiful. I haven't seen it since. I'm sure you have it all decaled up and wrapped or whatever on it, and I haven't seen it since then. But it was just awesome down there at the show, and I know that you brought it down there to Aaron's with nothing on it and had to rig it up and get it ready to fish by the next day. I know Dave was scrambling to help you get it ready to go.
Yeah, man, those guys down there at Bass and Moore, we pulled into their shop back there where they put fish finders and stuff on, and they were nice enough. We stayed there till about 1 o'clock in the morning the day before practice day, and we're trying to put everything we had on it, and all the Lowrance, all the Driftmaster stuff on it, and it worked out good.
And that's the kind of people we have in catfishing that some of the other sports don't do. You know, we have some of the best people in the industry, and they're all friendly and helpful and work with each other to make things work.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you something real quickly. The Monsters on the Ohio, I don't know about you. Now, I know the commercial fishermen have really raped and pillaged that water, but the whole town, the whole area up there in Owensboro, and Aaron Wheatley himself, I felt like I was at a big-time BASS Elite Series tournament, 100-something boats in there and out of there as fast as they were without a hiccup. That was a great experience for me.
Well, we've talked about that several times on the show, and Aaron does an outstanding job. He's a very good guy, and we fish. Cindy and I fish all over, every year. But last year was really extreme for us. But I've fished a lot of the big tournaments in different places, and I've never fished a more professionally run tournament than that is. With that being said, we try to do a pretty good job with our stuff, and Brad Kilpatrick does a really good job with his. But with what Aaron's working with and the support he's got in Owensboro, it's an amazing thing that they do down there.
Yep, and speaking of y'all stuff up there, that's what we're looking in season 2, to get up that way and get up and go over towards Brad's area and see if we can get a lot of that Midwest stuff, because on the Maximum Catfishing Facebook page, we get a lot of behind-the-scenes questions. When you coming up here? When you coming up here? So that's season 2 right there.
Speaking of the Maximum Catfishing, are you all done with season 1?
We got 2 more shows. We got a show that we got just pretty much zeroed on. I mean, that's fishing. It happens. We went to Chattanooga. We put in below Nickajack, went all the way up to Chattanooga, came all the way back, and only caught 2 fish. The wind was howling, and we had little to no current, so we're going to try to do that one over. And then this weekend, we're going to be at the Sea Arc tournament, the Owner's Invitational tournament, and we're going to do a little fishing there, a little filming there, and then that should be it. Back to the editing room we go. Well,
cool. I'm glad to see you going down there. That Sea Arc tournament is a good event. They had it in St. Louis a couple of times. I was fortunate enough to fish one of them, and they do a really good job with what they do. And I'm sure if you haven't met him, a friend of mine, Doug Rice, will be down there. He usually MCs the stuff, and Doug is quite a tool in himself. But he is a great supporter of Sea Arc boats, and they should feel real proud to have him on board with what they got.
Yeah, they're a good bunch of folks. They've always been helpful whenever I've had any questions about the boat or whatever. And they're one of the first to get into the boat side of catfishing. There's a lot of other stuff coming out right now, and I think all of that's good for the sport, because that means we're getting recognized.
Oh, I agree. I think that is 100% correct. The more of them that get involved with that, the better it's going to be for all of us. And in the end, the strong will survive, and the rest of them won't. But Sea Arc's got a pretty good name in the industry, and they have a lot of support behind them with their people that have their boats and stuff. So they're just difficult to deal with. Well, listen, I don't want to take up the whole show. I could ask you questions all night and visit with you, but I'll pass you off to Chris and let him get some hits in on you. And thanks again for being on the show with us.
All right, man. Thanks.
Hey, how's it going, John?
Pretty good, buddy. How you, man?
I'm doing all right. First off, before I get started, we got a question on the Catfish Weekly website. Big Catfish wants to know what your opinion is on why it seems like catfish will just turn on and then he'll turn off. Like you'll catch a lot of catfish in one time and then it sort of shut off or whatever reason,
I've seen it time and time again. I'm discounting the barge bite. We'll put that to the side. But just, whether you're drifting or you're anchoring or whatever, I can't really tell you. I know I get in there, and maybe sometimes the fish are schooling up and they're just schooling through there. But predominantly where I'm fishing, I'm finding fish to just sit behind current breaks. So if they're in there, they're in there. If they're not, they're not. But yeah, I've seen it a lot of times where they just, all of a sudden they turn on and get going good. I'm not one to get into the whole lure tables or anything like that. Now, I do really, really believe in the whole barometric pressure deal. When a front comes through, there's some times where you just get that hour right when that pressure just starts moving, whether it's going up or down. I mean, it doesn't matter which kind of front it is, comes through there for that good hour, man, you get an awesome bite like that.
All right. Yeah, so when I came down and I fished on the show with you. We had a little bit of the conservation thing that I'm going to get on a little bit, but like when I was on the boat with you in that stretch of water, by the way, Jonathon, if people don't know, lives not on Guntersville, but I could go out in his front yard and throw a rock and hit it, so it's close enough. I mean, he's right there. So it's a beautiful area. I mean, I've never seen anything like it down there. Looking at his fish finder when we're out there, I was really just, I haven't been on a lot of different waters where I've seen that many fish. I mean, when he was on the Ohio River, what did you see compared to the Ohio River that you see at places like Guntersville and Wheeler? I mean, that's what I noticed.
I'm going to be honest with you. This isn't down in the Ohio River fishery by any means. So all you guys up there, don't think I'm talking bad about it. But from a conservation standpoint, I mean, I can really see why you guys up in that area are really up on your soapboxes beating the war drums, because it's sad that a fishery that's that nice up in there is just thin with fish, and it's all due to that commercial fisherman. And I could spend 3 shows on this. Those guys got to make a living, but they're just raping our fisheries. And I hope that these laws that they're putting in place up there really, really do something. It's going to take 5 or 10 years for it to start showing a difference if they start enforcing those laws. But man, it's just not nearly as plentiful as I see on all the other rivers that I'm on.
No, when I was on your boat, looking at your fish finder, all I could do was just dream that one day the Ohio River would look like that. I mean, it was very night and day different for what I see.
And I think with guys like Wheatley and all the other guys that are on there, Steve Douglas, a lot of people like that are trying to champion the cause. I think it will be, again, it's nice to see we have some people kind of save it for us, because there's a medium there between us and the commercial fishermen, but it hasn't been met. It's just been raped and pillaged for so long that it's going to take a while.
Yeah, there definitely needs to be a lot done, probably more than even what's being done right now. But, we got to take what we can get and work on it and take it a step at a time.
I don't want to seem too controversial here, but I'm going to just shoot straight from the hip. I hope they didn't appease us with a bunch of laws that they don't plan on enforcing on the backside due to the Good Old Boy Network up there. And that's my really, really, concern is that they actually start going out there and doing that kind of stuff and enforcing those things and caring about our catfish fisheries, because if not, I just really hope they didn't say, here's your bunch of laws, let's put them on the books, but we don't have to enforce them. Maybe the catfish guys will shut up. But I know with guys like Wheatley and other guys out there, that's not going to happen. So I'm really curious to see how that works in the coming years.
Yeah. All right, talking about Catfish Weekly a little bit. The show itself, can you tell us a little bit about why you decided to create the show, what channel it's going to be on, when the first season is going to come out?
Yeah, it's kind of a funny story how the whole Maximum Catfish came around. As you guys know, I was with Bass Pro Shops for many years down in Georgia, and I used to go around to all the different stores giving seminars and stuff. And usually it was during the boat shows and the fishing spring classics and stuff sales that they had during the spring, early February, March, January, those times of the year. And when I would go there, of course, I could never get up on the tank being in the wheelchair. And plus, I don't think they wanted me slinging 8 and 10 ounce weights around in those glass tanks anyway. But I'd be down in the front, and I'd give my seminars and stuff. And when some local guys would come up there, it would be me and whether it was Bill or KVD or any of the top bass fishermen would be in there, and we kind of pal around and rub elbows and just kind of talk while the local guys were doing their things. And I struck up a kind of a friendship with Timmy Horton, and year after year he'd come back and we'd talk and have a good time. And we were talking about his show after Timmy Horton Outdoors kicked off, and he said, "Man, we'd love to do another show. What do you think about something along the lines of your catfish stuff? Would you be able to do that?" And man, I just took it and run with it. I went to all the sponsors and told them what we were doing. He'd already been on World Fishing Network. They took a look at our pilot that we did with Jason Bridges, who, by the way, just knocked it out of the park when we fished with him. And it just went from there. We're sitting in front of you guys talking.
So on World Fishing Network, when is the first season going to come out?
October. It'll start in October. You'll see us on World Fishing Network, and we're going from there. It's going to be cool to kind of see all of my friends and all of my, the people that are in the industry that are going to be on the show, getting some props for all the skin they've laid in the game. Now, with that said, there was a lot of people that I wanted to be on the show, and I haven't changed the website because I'm still trying to figure out a way to work that out. Some of the big names in the game that are on the website, and due to some sponsorship issues where we had conflicting sponsors, where we couldn't, we had no compete clauses in there for the show, I couldn't really get them on the show, in their boat. This isn't bass fishing where we can just jump up on the front of anybody's boat and start popping casts. Everybody, as you know, in catfishing has their boat set up for the way that they like to fish. So it's really hard for me to take somebody that loves to drift fish and does it like nobody's business to get in my boat where I precision anchor all the time and have it set up a lot different. So we're having some issues there, but other than that, I hope I can get them ironed out by season 2.
Okay, like what are some of the guests that you're going to have on for season 1?
Season 1 will be, yourself. We went out and caught some good fish, and I even found a way when I was editing the other day to put that fish catch that we caught when we got rained and winded out of the first day, that big 63-pounder in there, so that looks real good on that throwback we did. We've got George Young and Kerry Long. Of course, my right-hand man, Gary Turner's in just about all of those. We've got some other people that we've got in there that I'm going to kind of keep secret until it comes out. Bill Dance was on an episode. Jason Bridges was on an episode. And I want to talk about that episode for a little bit. Man, we were getting normally about 30,000 CFS that time of year. And when we got ready to plan this thing to go up fishing, it was July, and we had 203,000 CFS. For all you Tennessee River folks, that's fast. I mean, that's really fast. And we ended up catching, one fish at 60, one right at 70, and another 30-pounder. I mean, 3 fish, right there at 140 pounds was awesome in that kind of current. And there was log jams and everything else coming down the river, and he helped us knock it out of the park. So props to him on that one.
All right. What would you, what would you say you guys do on the days where the fishing doesn't cooperate and you're trying to film an episode? How do you go about handling that? And
it's not so much of a stressful situation when I'm somewhere on the Tennessee River where, we're just going to go back to the house that evening, an hour drive, and come back out and, go to Watts Bar or Chickamauga or Nickajack or somewhere like that. But when I get way up in your neck of the woods, up on the high river and even up farther up in there, or way out on the East Coast, it's kind of nerve-wracking. But as you know, we got out there and we got some windy conditions when you were down here. And, where I couldn't even anchor. I just had to nose the boat into the mud, and we were fishing down ledges and catching all sorts of good bites, but we weren't getting on the fish. So you just got to do what you got to do. It's kind of like tournament day, but there's a lot of pressure when I've got cameraman and everything else on the clock, and it's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that you guys won't see on TV. But, man, I was sweating bullets a lot of times because that's why they call it fishing.
Yeah. I'm trying to think right now. I had something else. I can't think of it right now. So if Chuck wants to ask you some questions or Paul wants to ask you some questions, I'll go ahead and hand it over to him. If I think of anything else, I'll get back with you.
All right.
What's going on, Jonathon?
What's up, buddy?
What's happening? Hey, on all this footage y'all been shooting, how close are y'all to having a good blooper edition?
Well,
Y'all got some good
I can't say it on here, but if anybody's ever on Facebook and Gary Turner's on there, ask him how to pronounce the word skipjack. It'll just get him going. But you know that story, but I won't get into that. But anyhow, man, there's a lot of times when we get these fish and we put them in the live well, before we release them, I like to do the bump in and bump outs. And that's when I say, stay tuned for more Maximum Catfishing, and then it goes to commercial. Or I say, welcome back to Maximum Catfishing, and it comes back into the show. But when I'm doing those and I'm holding a 60, 65, 70-pound fish, man, after about the 50, 11th time, it gets rough. And I mean, that's where a lot of the bloopers come in. I did have one where I backlashed a reel so bad that I thought I was going to have to take it apart to get the line off. I mean, that's just how bad it was. And they were like, "You want us to edit that out?" I said, "No, that's fishing. Just leave it in there, and I'm going to keep it real with everybody." So there's always, certain stuff. I haven't had any Bill Dance moments yet, but we've come close.
All right, we've had our times where we just come up and get in the boat and go out and have good times, and I see a lot of photos on Facebook where a lot of your friends from over in Georgia come over and all this. So far this year, how many personal bests have you been able to get people on by being on Gunnersville and Wheeler into your boat this year?
Wow, man, I can't count them on all my fingers and toes. I know that. That's the guy in me coming out. And I could be out there and get these guys to come over here, and every time a rod goes down, I can try to shoot them my elbow and grab the rod, but that's not me. I like to get down there and watch people get on these big fish. And I think a good 12 or 14 personal bests out there. And I've had probably, I can't tell you the many fish over 50 that we've caught out of here. This is one of those lakes that everybody likes. Wilson and Wheeler and Pickwick. Gunnersville kind of gets a little bit of a push to the side, but as I know, Leanne caught her personal best out here when we were fishing back a few months ago, and it's just got some big fish in it. And y'all's tournament next weekend ought to do real good.
Yeah, I hope so. We're trying to get a good turnout. On your season 2, what kind of areas are you planning on covering? Are you going to try to get on out, Kansas? You going to try to get on out? You going to try to do any James River stuff, anything like that?
Yeah, we want to hit the James, the Potomac. We've got some lower Mississippi River stuff that we've already done, and pretty much all the way down to Kentucky Lake on the Tennessee River we've done. And I really want to get out there and get up to the Missouri area, over into Kansas, even on up way north on the border, and catch some of those big town catfish.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice. All right, Paul, you got anything for him?
Yeah, I was curious. A lot of people don't know that Jonathon's in a wheelchair, and I'm kind of curious if he feels like that keeps him from getting the maximum out, or if that's just...
No, not really. It's kind of all how bad you want it. These two guys over here, Chris and Chuck, know firsthand that I don't care how I got to crawl, flop, flip, climb, jump out, whatever I got to do to get in and out of that boat, I'm going fishing. Like you said, I can look right out my window here and see that river, and it's nothing going to keep me from it. So it's just all how bad you want to do something.
Yeah.
And as far as the boat goes, I try to set up the boat, how I like it. I would love to have a big, nice rod rack going across the back and all the chrome and looking nice and fancy, but just can't reach it from my seat. So, David Ashby came in there and really set the boat up where I could reach everything and get to most stuff. Now, it does hinder me when I'm, trying to throw the anchor and stuff like that. I can do it myself if I need to pull the anchor up with the anchor ball and all that, but, that's where my good friends come in and really help out. And good thing it's a team sport, because without that, there are stuff, to be honest with you, that does hinder me, but, that just, if I get a little pissed off when I'm fishing, it helps me fish better.
Well, that's pretty much all. I just had to ask, and I know I didn't know you was in a wheelchair until I got looking on your page, so that's kind of...
Yeah, most people don't, because everything we're shooting is, from here up, and they see me sitting down holding up a big fish or whatever, and And it's kind of like when me and my wife go to the gas station. They're like, look at that jackass. He's making his wife get out and pump the gas. They don't really pay attention to the wheelchair lady in the back of the truck. Anyway, it looks like you're about to have a hurricane over there, buddy.
Oh, no kidding. I got to move some stuff. I'll be right back.
Starting here too. So if we get knocked off the air, then we get knocked off the air. But you want to go with the giveaway yet, Chris?
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about. We're going to let everybody know that basically starting now until the end of June, hold up any catfish with just a piece of paper that says catfishweekly.com or Catfish Weekly on it. And we're going to give away 2 of these 50-pound Rapala scales. Just randomly pick 2 of the pictures at the end of the month of June, and we'll give away 2 of them. You can post them to either our Facebook group or our Facebook page on Catfish Weekly. Also, we're trying to ask that we're really trying to get out there and get support from all of our anything that we post. If you could share it, you could like it on the YouTube videos. If you go to them and look at them and make a comment and like them and hit the thumbs up button, things like that, that'll help us get a little better exposure out there, and people to like YouTube or whatever might feature a video or something like that. That would really help us get Catfish Weekly out so people can see it. If you're out at a tournament and you don't mind speaking in front of people, ask the tournament director if you can, throw a mention about Catfish Weekly out there, Mondays at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central. Just anything that you can do to help us really get out and to the masses and help us spread what we're doing here. If you enjoy the show especially, I think other people would if they knew about it. Some people just don't know yet. But as you can see, Chuck sitting there holding up that 50-pound Rapala scale. We got 2 of those. And it's Catfish Weekly. It's just us that's going to give those away. So you got all the end of this month and all the way to the end of June. Post a picture of any catfish. It doesn't have to be a giant catfish. You can catch yourself the smallest catfish you've ever seen and post yourself a picture with it, and you might get chosen there. But
that's going to be a bad deal if we get Doug Rice and Bill Parfit throwing in them 22-inch channel cat they turn in these tournaments sometimes.
Hey, and I'm gonna say it right now. You can enter as many times as you want. So if you catch a ton of fish and you want to, have that many chances to win, just put it in there. Put a picture with that Catfish Weekly thing and.
One stipulation: no pay lake fish.
Yeah, no pay lake fish. Yeah, we did have recently, and I do want to go ahead and say this too, that we'd prefer that no advertising be posted on any of our pages on Facebook unless it's done by us. But especially don't advertise for a pay lake and put pictures up of pay lake fish, or you'll see exactly how I'll handle that, like I did with the last guy. He got banned and.
Don't let the lures flick you.
Yep. I'll delete that post and ban you. We don't support pay lakes. There are good pay lakes out there that only stock, farm raised fish and stuff like that. And honestly, we don't have a problem with those, but just as a general consensus, we just don't allow advertising and the support of pay lakes. So just to make it easy, don't do it. But
so Jonathon, that means no pay lakes for you.
Yeah. Go ahead, Chuck.
Okay. Does everybody want to wrap it up and give their?
I've got a question I wanted to talk to Jonathon about. Jonathon, when you was talking a while ago about going to the border, are you talking about going up around Brad Durrett's area on the Red River and jumping up there and trying to catch some of those monster channel cat with Brad?
Yeah, I had Brad come on the show with, I think he was on an episode with David Ashby, and we talked a lot about his book and talked a lot about the similarities between what he does on the river compared to us blue cats and flathead fishermen guys, and there's a lot of similar stuff, but he just has those huge catfish up there, and we'd like to go up there and shoot some with him in his area, as well as we kind of kick the idea around of going north of the border a little bit and get up to there and catching some of those really, really big ones. As well as I like to go over to the right a little bit and get with some of those people that I'm a flatheader by trade. I mean, that's when I started when I was little. We didn't have nothing but big flatheads in Georgia, and that's what I like to do, and that's my forte in catfishing. I like to go over there to the Minnesota area and places like that have those big flatheads as well. So that's kind of what we're looking to do, and kind of just make it one big loop all around the northern central part of the country and come back down.
Well, I can tell you firsthand, if you go up there and you get to fish with Brad and Brad Durick Outdoors, it'll be a great time. We was up fishing the Cat's Incredible tournament up there last year, and Brad's an outstanding guide. He takes care of his people really well, and he knows that river, and there are some absolute giant channel cat in that river. And Brad's also very informed about the Red River up around the Lockport Dam, and I assume when you talk about going north, you're further yet, then that would be where you was headed, because as far as I know, that's the place to go for monster channel cats on that river.
Yeah, I catch 112 pounds down here anywhere, and I think I've done something. So I get on something big up there, man, I'll be grinning like a little kid.
No, them things. This fight is unbelievable. How those channel cat put up a battle in that current and stuff, and you'll have a really good time, and Brad will do you a great job. I know he will. You all have a blast. That'd be an awesome time. I know from what we've done last year, everybody likes to catch the big fish, the blues who weigh 50, 60, 70, 80 pounds, but the biggest tournaments that I'm seeing in the last couple of years come from the channel cat tournaments. If we have a tournament in St. Louis and it has 20, 30, 40 boats, that is a huge deal, and that's about the average on the Illinois River, or even north up around Keokuk and Burlington, places like that, where they have all their channel cat fishermen. They just flock in there in droves.
Yeah, and it's a cool thing for our sport, because I don't care what kind of catfish you're catching. I just want to see the sport in general grow, and that's one of the big things on the show is I don't care to be do this just for personal fame or anything, fortune or anything like that. I just really want to be not a voice, but just a portal to show what we have in catfishing. That's why I tried to do a few tournaments to show the tournament aspect of it as well, and just show that the fisheries and everything around here, from all over the country are good fisheries. We have a lot of people that are into the sport. It's an untapped resource for these sponsors, and hopefully they'll see that and start putting some more support into the stuff that we like to do.
Yeah, I agree. Now, do you ever think that and I'm hoping that it don't, but do you ever think that catfishing will get to the point where crappie and bass fishing is?
I don't think it'll get BASS Elite Series status, anything like that. But I do think it'll be to the crappie USA level, or maybe like the redfish tournaments that they have down in the Gulf and stuff like that, where there's a lot of money into it. But I just don't think it's going to be bass fishing popular. But I would like to see it where it can be worth our while to be able to travel to different parts of the country, experience the different fisheries, let them challenge you because you've never been there before, and still be able to have enough money in the purses to make it where at least you can break even, to an extent, because I think that's what's keeping us from growing. And it's nothing against any of the tournament directors of Cabela's or Bass Pro or anything like that. It's just we need more support from the sponsors to be able to make that happen. And that's where it takes. You got a lot of people that say, I don't ever want it to get that big. I want to be able to go catch my fish, and I don't want it to get so popular that I can't go to my favorite hole and go catch fish. I don't think that's going to be a problem. Those are the purists, and I kind of have to agree with them. But for the tournament aspect, I love competing. I can't go out and play football or basketball. This is my deal, and I want it to get big enough where we can, have enough big enough purses to be able to make it, worth our while to be able to travel all across the country.
Well, from my perspective, and you may not agree with this, but one of the things that I see holding the tournaments down from getting any larger at this particular time is the amount of corporate sponsors that we have in tournament fishing, and it's getting better. I'm not saying that it's not, because it is getting better, but the bass tournaments. When they started that, years and years ago, they had some people that really set that up and promoted it correctly. And catfishing is overcoming a backwoods type outlook, the way people think about guys that fish, and the people wearing their jerseys with their sponsors on them, and having the nice boats and looking. It doesn't have to be a big boat as long as it's clean and fit. If you look professional, that's better for the sport. Do you agree with that?
I do, and I don't expect anybody to go out there and pay $150 for a jersey and put sponsors all over it, get approval to put sponsors all over it and everything else, and have the top of the line, the biggest, baddest boat out there. That's not what catfishing is about. But I do agree with you about the Billy Bob theory, where everybody thinks we're a bunch of Billy Bobs and overalls with no shirts on, just out there catching catfish. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I must have approached 500 sponsors with the show idea when I was first starting, before I had any footage or anything like that. And they're like, "Are you catching them with your hands?" I mean, that was the first thing they went to, was a bunch of noodling crap. And then after that, it was just really hard to get my foot in the door as a cat fisherman. If I would have been a bass fisherman, I could have played the whole disability angle and went in there and got a little niche show, and everybody would have been all over it. But for catfishing, when you told me you were catching trophy catfish, they're like, "Do what?" And it was really a stigma, like you said, that I had to overcome just to get my foot in the door.
And I do that with the tournaments when I'm trying to get sponsors for Twisted Cat Outdoor Tournaments. That is the first thing and the biggest obstacle that we have, is overcoming the like you call it, the Billy Bob outlook, because that's what they think about. And then when you take videos or pictures and show them of the way people have changed and are trying to grow the sport, they come at you a little bit different, but you still have that obstacle to overcome with every sponsor that you go after.
Well, it's all about that. It's all about that mighty dollar. And I want to tell you something. This kind of really changed the whole outlook and my whole approach to sponsors after I sat down and talked with him. The first night that I met Bill Dance up in Memphis, when we did our shoot with him and George Young and Kerry Long in Memphis last year, we sat down to dinner, and the first thing he said is he handed me some paperwork, and he stuck in front of me. He said, "Read right there, Jonathon." And there was a retailer fishing magazine that was, put out to all the retailers out there so they could see what the next big trend in bass fishing lures and stuff, and what was coming up for the season that they should stock in their stores. And there was a study done in 2012, and it showed the number of bass fishermen in the United States, cat fishermen, hybrid fishermen, striper fishermen, and bass fishing was 10 million. Cat fishermen was 7.5 billion in that article, and I'll post it on my Facebook page when we get done. And then below that, then that was your pan fishermen and your crappie fishermen and everything else. So there is enough of us in the United States to really make an impact financially on the books of all these companies if they'll just tap into it. So that's what we're trying to do, is show them what's available out there, and hopefully they'll start coming our way so we can have more chances to compete with bigger purses.
That's great. I think you're onto something with that, and I know that people are getting better, and the tournament people are trying to get things to look a little more professional, and I really think it's made a big impact on the sport. And guys like you that are helping us promote it will continually to get things done in a more professional manner. Chris, did you have a comment you wanted to make?
Yeah, I was wanting to jump in a little bit and add on to that. I think right now, catfish is growing, and we're in that stage, I believe, where these companies that are coming in and they're sponsoring us, and they've not done this before. They've not came in and did sponsorships for cat fishermen. They've strictly done bass fishermen, crappie fishermen, walleye fishermen, whatever. Like Jonathan's saying, like you're saying, we definitely, as the sponsored person, you need to make sure you do everything that sponsor wanted you to do. You want to present us as good as possible, so they say, yeah, we had a good experience with this guy, We're going to expand upon that a little bit next year or the year after that, and really push us as tournament anglers and things with them sponsors to a different level than what they were thinking to begin with. I mean, if they were thinking, it might be okay, we'll give it a shot. You want them guys at the end to be thinking, holy crap, I've never had a bass fisherman do all the stuff this guy was willing to do for me. I want to make sure that we're expanding upon this. We're doing more with these guys next year. Really push it for them. I mean, make it the best experience that you could for them. I think is what you need to try to do.
Yeah, and I agree with you, because holding up big fish at a tournament is not the epitome of taking care of your sponsor. It's going into these small events and promoting them, coming up with ways to get stuff going on. Whether it's just a little tournament you put together, or you go visit the Cub Scouts and you get on the news. I mean, whatever you can do to get any kind of media impression, whether it's just old school newspaper, social media, TV, whatever you've got to do to get your sponsors out there. That's what they want to see. And like you said, if we show them as catfishermen, we're going to work hard for them, then that's what they're going to keep coming back and try to give sponsorship to some of our peers and stuff like that. You're always going to have that bad apple that's going to spoil it for us. But on the most part, if we can look professional and show them that there's a revenue stream here and that we'll work hard for them, then they'll start scratching our backs more.
Well, and I have a different deal than most guys do, because I'm on both ends of it, where we run a pro staff and have guys that use our products and promote them, and some of the guys we have worked out and they've been really awesome. Doc and Lynn Lang have just been outstanding for us, and Jason and Vicky Mathena, you just couldn't ask for anybody any better than that. And Gary Turner, he does a good job for us. And we've got a lot of other people that promote our products. And one of the stipulations is that you have to look and act the part. If somebody wants to look at your thing, Jason Jackson supports us, and you want your stuff clean, and you use it so it's going to get to the point where it's got things on it. But then again, if somebody wants to see it, I call it fondling it. When they want to play with them, they want to cast them, just let them do it. If something happens to it, we'll just send you another one. That's just how you do it. And that's the stuff that sets some of them apart from others. It's not always catching the 100-pound fish. It's promoting yourself and the products. And first thing that guys have to understand is that if they don't believe in that product 100%, it does you no good to have it as a sponsor.
Yeah, and that's a lot of times when we were getting the show going, we were getting approached by people that wanted to get their product out on national television, of course, and I'm always open to anybody that's been in the catfish before the show, that's put in a lot of skin, as I call it, to take care of their product and stuff. But sometimes you just got to have to be honest with them, and my way, I just kind of tell them it just doesn't fit my style of fishing, because I want to be able to really talk genuinely about a product when I endorse it on the show, or if I'm in front of somebody doing a seminar or anything like that.
Well, and that's right. I do some seminars too, and when I do them, if I can't believe in a hook, and I don't necessarily always use Eagle Claw hooks, and believe me, they don't support me in any way, but that's my favorite that I've found to this point is a 2022 Eagle Claw, and that's what I use in my demonstration, because I trust it. I feel confident it's going to do the right job when I'm fishing with the way I fish, and that's what I use. And Power Pro Braid is another one. They have no way sponsor us or I have any affiliation with them at all, but that's what I do use in my seminar, simply because I trust it and I use it every day.
Yeah. Exactly, and another thing, while we're touching on sponsors real lightly here, is whether you're a catfisherman or bass fisherman or anything, when you come in at the starting level for a sponsor, just like Lowrance, I'm a firm believer in their product, and I can make those things just whistle Dixie when I get them on the boat and get them working right. But I was with Lowrance for 3 years before I ever got moved up to the national pro staff. So don't think with any sponsor that you're just going to come in there and start collecting a paycheck right away. You really got to, it's a two-sided relationship. You really got to put in the work and show them you're going to do anything, and really work for them before they're going to move you up. So if you get some discounts and some slight product to begin with in the first year or two, don't think you're getting pushed by the wayside. Just keep working hard. It'll happen.
Let me touch on that for just a second with you, Jonathan. A few months ago, every spring and in the fall, Dave and myself and anybody that has anything to do with catfishing or any sport get hit up for sponsorships for the beginning of the next year. And you just get slammed with all of them. And I try to look and read and choose if I need somebody out of that. But most of the sponsors that we do, I hand pick, and go after them instead of them coming to me. But I made a post and an article that it's not people not necessarily turning you down just because they don't take a guy the first round or the second round. It just, to me, that's telling this guy, I'm looking at you, but I don't think you're ready to support my product. Now, down the road, you probably will make it, but you're necessarily just not there yet. And a lot of that is personal appearance. A lot of it's the way that you make posts on Facebook and any other media, the websites and forums and different things. Do you agree with what I'm saying there?
I do 100%. You've got to really, that's why I'm an out there guy. Y'all guys know me behind the scenes, and there's no telling what I might say at any given minute. But on social media, in the public, especially, I'm going to just stay with social media, you've really got to keep it clean. And these guys, when I go to sponsors for the show, prospective sponsors for the show, that's the first thing I'll get comments on in the interview the next day or two when we get one is, hey, I saw those fish on your Facebook page. They'll go through and they'll scan through, as far as back as it'll let them go to see what kind of really person you are and how you carry yourself and everything else. And all that means a lot to a sponsor. So, you really gotta promote yourself as a person pretty good first before you even think about getting on any products.
And was my point exactly. And a lot of these guys, I would like to have them, but they're just not ready yet. They haven't grown to that manner of professionalism, or however you want to put it. It's not that they won't be there someday, but right now they just need a little more time on it to get there.
Well, you were talking about getting slammed with a lot of stuff at the beginning of the year. For many years I've been with Mercury before the show started, and Bass Pro and big sponsors, and I kind of learned from bass fishing. Bass fishing, they have the Classic right there at the beginning of the year. They have a tournament or two before the Classic, and then it's the Classic. So bass fishing starts pretty much, January. Well, all of these guys, they start their, say, let's use Mercury as an example. They start all their, filtering through all the applications in October of the year before. So that might be something where these guys need to start, putting all their stuff together. And I know the tournament season ain't quite over for us in October, but putting stuff in there and kind of getting in there a little bit earlier so you guys can kind of see what's going on and not, be at the top of the stack and not in the middle of the stack.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And if there's hundreds of people that I would love to be able to support, but there is a limit to what anybody can do, and it's not just me; it's everybody else. There's an end that you have to stop at some point. But my whole point with that article was that there's a lot of guys out there that will be where they want to be right now. They'll be there, but it's going to take them a year or two or three to get there, because you don't just jump on the scene of catfishing or bass fishing or crop or whatever it is and go up and say, well, I'm so-and-so and I want to be on I want to support your product, and you just don't get it right away. It's a proven thing. You've got to make sure that you are professional and you account yourself the same way. And I've approached some of these big guys that I thought that would do me a good job and been turned down. And I actually was heartbroken over a couple of them. One of them was a pretty good friend of mine, and he just didn't want to get tied into a deal like that. And I was pretty let down about that. And then a couple other guys that are big deals turned me down a few years ago, and I was a little disappointed in that. But that's part of it too. You got to be able to accept that the same way. Everybody doesn't like the same things too, but the one thing that they have to believe in what you have or what they're using of yours. If they don't believe in it, there's no way they can promote it the way it needs to be done.
Yeah, and you try to use your sponsor's product beforehand before you go ask them for a sponsorship, because they want you to be knowledgeable about the product a little bit, not coming in there raw and just saying, if you give me this, and I'll try it and I'll promote it to the best of my ability. Like you said, you got to really, know what's going on with their product line and show them that you can promote them genuinely and not just doing it for the free gift or the free product.
That's exactly right, and Jason and Vicky Mathena, they use some of our stuff, and I had the privilege of fishing with Vicky and Cindy in the boat here at a tournament a month or so ago, and absolutely had a wonderful time. And I just noticed that Cindy made a post on here to Adam Winder about not grabbing Vicky's rod. Now, Vicky is pretty particular about who gets that rod. She wasn't watching, and I grabbed it up and caught a fish on it, and I thought she was going to take it away from me and beat me. But I know earlier before the show we talked that you was going to try to get up and fish with Vicky and Jason, and that would be an outstanding show. I hope that you get to make that happen. You will never be in a boat with finer people than they are. I promise you that.
Well, let me tell you something. I met him for the first time at the Monsters on the Ohio, and you think it's bad for you guys. Sitting down, that guy looks like he's about 27 feet tall. So I know not to go in front of him or his mom to grab anything out of that boat, buddy.
Jason was up here the other day, and the first time that he come up and we visited, his mother said, if you have anything that you worry about getting broke, do not give it to Jason. And the first thing that happened was he went in the other room to visit the little boy's room and broke something in there. And I said, this is the man for me, I'm just telling you, if it can be broke, he can do it. And that's what we're after is somebody give honest evaluations on the products to make sure they're as good as we think they are.
Well, before we get off topic, before we close the show up here, I just want to give a big shout out to Bink and Janet Fox for their big win a couple of weeks ago at the Cabela's. I saw that on Facebook and I was busy. I didn't really have time to comment on it, but that's a good fishing team right there, and I'm proud of them.
Oh, they've done an outstanding job, and those are some of the finest people that you ever want to meet. I'm looking really forward to hopefully we get ahead of them in the Monsters of the Ohio this year. I can't wait to see that Cardinals hat on Janet. That'll be the most fun that I could possibly have.
Never bet against a woman, buddy. Be careful what you wish for, because you might be a cubby that day.
Well, I'm telling you, yeah, no kidding. Bink told me on the phone here not too long back that she's done been on him, and they'll have to be pre-fishing as much as they can because she is not wanting to wear that Cardinals hat.
Hey, Jonathan?
Yeah.
Was there anything, not Maximum Catfishing or sponsor related that you wanted to touch on before we go on to anything else? Or?
Well, just the sponsors that are on the show already, Sea Arc and Lowrance and David Ashby and Driftmasters, Dave Baynard over there at Driftmaster Rod Holders, all the people that have come in and taken a chance on this fat boy from Alabama to really promote catfishing and get their products out there. I appreciate it, and it's just one of those things where we start at this level and we get it out there. I don't expect to be Duck Dynasty or Uncle Si or anything, but I'm telling you, if we can get a portal to show the world what we do it, big things are to come for the whole sport. And that's what I'm wanting to do, and just promote CPR in general, because like you said earlier, we had that segment of our episode when I filmed with you that we just sat in the boat while we were waiting on the rods to start bouncing, and we really talked about conservation and what it means to our sport. And that's another thing. If you're going to CPR, and I'm not going to get on my soapbox because I eat my plenty and my share of fish, but it's just nothing over the 10-pound mark that I keep. But anyhow, if you're going to hold up a fish on social media, keep your fingers out of the gills, please. It's killing me. But if you're talking about your CPR and a fish, and you got your hand up in his gills because you're too scared to hold him by the mouth, get you some grips, some gloves, something, because it just kills me. And I'm not the catfish police, but please just keep your fingers out of the gills and let them swim another day.
Good advice.
All right, guys, we're fixing to have to wrap it up. We got a bad storm coming up in the area where our server is, and if it gets knocked out, we're gonna lose this whole show. So, I got one last question for Jonathan. Make it quick. I just want to know what's your most memorable fishing trip you've had, it been a tournament or been off with family, friends, or whatever?
Cindy and I, when we were in Georgia, we did an article for Georgia Outdoor News magazine. We got on Clark's Hill, got to fishing, got to caught all the bait, showed the guy how to do everything. Got our first rods out, caught a flathead catfish, and we looked up and a storm came up on us. And long story short, we got caught in a tornado during that article, and it was probably, I'll never forget it. With the wind was blowing so high, the waves were so big, they were about to turn my boat over. I couldn't go parallel to them, so I just had to put them at my back, and we beached the boat into some sand, and it just beached it so hard with the motor trimmed up and no propulsion but the wind that we had to wait next day to get Seato to pull us out of there, and they almost couldn't get us out of there. That's how hard the wind was blowing. So just be safe when you're on the water and pay attention to that weather, because man, that was the pucker factor was 10 plus that day.
All right, Lyle, you ready to give your closing statement?
Yeah, just give me just 1 second here, and I will go ahead with Paul or somebody, and let me get my stuff up so I don't make any mistakes.
You ready, Chris?
Yeah, I can go ahead. All right, everybody. We got advertising space still available on the website, catfishweekly.com. $30 for 3 months, $50 for 6 months. If you don't have an ad, we could probably make you up one to stick in there. Also, remember about the giveaway that I talked about earlier. Any catfish, post a picture with a Catfish Weekly sign. The giveaway will be the end of June. It'll be 2 50-pound scales, electric or digital scales. We're gonna buy Paul some cough drops. But no. I want to thank Jonathon for coming on the show. Me and him and all the guys talked a little bit beforehand, and he's kind of on board with us with what we're trying to do as far as being non-political. Anybody across the board, no matter what sponsors they use or whatever, we're just coming together for the sport of catfishing to enjoy it, share it with each other. Have a good time, cut loose. He's a big fan of Runny Doo-Doo, so he's probably going to have him on maximum. that probably wouldn't go over so good on national TV, but who knows?
No, it wouldn't work.
But yeah, that's I think that's. Besides that, we got a tournament on. I think it is May 29th or no, May 31st. May 31st, Extreme Catfishing is having the day tournament out of Troy, Indiana. I believe it's going to be at 7 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock in that time frame, but you can look them up on Facebook. Then after the day tournament, ICA is having theirs at New Albany. I'm going to be doing both. I'll do the day tournament at Extreme and then go to New Albany and do the ICA tournament. I believe that one starts at 7 o'clock at night and goes till 7 in the morning. So I'll be doing a lot of fishing that time. But I think that's it for me.
I'm ready now, Chuck. Hello.
Yes, go ahead, Lyle.
Okay. I wanted to remind everybody that coming up the 24th of May, Nauvoo, Illinois, we're having a Twisted Cat outdoor fishing tournament. Should be a great turnout. Looking forward to seeing everybody up there. It's going to be a really good, fun time. It's all going to be north of the Keokuk Dam, so it'll basically be a channel cat tournament, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. $100 entry, launch time is 7, and weigh-in starts at 3, just like all the tournaments. For those of you that have not heard about it, May 31st in Burlington, Iowa, we're having a benefit tournament for Calvin Myers. We have an outstanding bunch of support from everyone from Twisted Cat Outdoors. We're giving away rods. Brad Kilpatrick, Kansas City Catfish is sending over 3 fishing reels for it. This is a 50-50 tournament to help Calvin and Annie with the expense of his cancer treatments and driving back and forth from north of Quincy, Illinois to St. Louis. And any of you that know Calvin, he's an outstanding guy, and he's a stand-up guy for our sport. We need to support this and help them guys out any way we can. So if you can make it May 31st, Burlington, Iowa will be a great time. And the next day they're going to have a bunch of raffles and auction off just unbelievable amount of stuff from all over the country. So if you can make that, that'd be great. The next thing that I wanted to talk to you about is June 14th in LaGrange, Missouri. The Jack and Jill tournament sponsored by Mark Twain Casino. Guaranteed $3,000 first place. Still getting a lot of entries coming through the mail. A lot of people sending messages and stuff. You must have one male, one female in a boat. You are allowed up to 3 fishermen per boat. $100 entry fee. There's going to be booths set up across from the casino. The day before the tournament, they're giving away a free meal. There's some other things that are in the works right now that will entice some people to be there. It's going to be a great time, and it's a great payout for our area. So any of you that can make that, bring your wives, your girlfriend, your daughters, come up and join us. We're going to have a real good time up there. Jonathon, I can't thank you enough for being on the show with us this week. We really enjoyed having you, and looking forward to Maximum Catfishing Show when that gets going. You're doing a wonderful thing for helping us with the conservation of catfish, and it means a lot to all of us that you're supporting it the way we do.
Yeah, I'm very adamant about that. I try to stay off my soapbox on the show, but I appreciate you guys having me, and you know, I'll do whatever I can to kind of be the voice of conservation for our fisheries.
Oh, you're the man. Thank you so much again, Chuck.
You got anything, Paul?
Yeah, just thank you for showing up tonight and doing the show with us. And you probably stay a little longer, but I think I'm going to get some nasty weather here shortly. So do appreciate you, Jonathon, doing the show with us tonight.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, Jonathon, I want to thank you for being on. It was great having you on. I'd like to let everybody know about the Alabama Catfish Trail Tournament coming up this Saturday, May 17th. We're going to be launching out of Scottsboro City Park ramp. The weigh-in's going to be during the Scottsboro Catfish Festival. We're going to be launching at takeoff around 7 a.m. Weigh-in's going to be at 3 p.m. I hope to see everybody there. If nobody got anything else to say, I guess we're out of here for the night. And
real quick, Chuck, is I'll be going to see our tournament that weekend of your tournament down here on Gunnersville. So I will give away waypoints on Gunnersville for zebra cakes. If anybody wants some good waypoints, just let me know. I'll give them to you because I'm low on zebra cakes. My wife put me on a diet.
So everybody's talking about going down there to the Monster Ohio's. Well, all I got to do is figure out how to get a ride and end up with the rest of the guys up there.
And I got to tell everybody, until I see you again, stay out of my spot.